Everybody, hello and welcome to the Tuesday, July 28, 2026 meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. This meeting hearing of the Ayer Planning Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom meeting ID 978-772-8220 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Danny Ruiz, Town Planner, at druiz@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 144 prior to the meeting. First item of business to approve the agenda, and I would like to make a request for an amended item. That is under general business, after the third bullet of the request for $3,000, I'd like to add an opportunity for Lynn Hutt to come up and talk about some tree situation on Zero Park Street. With that said, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented and amended.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Peter?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And the chair votes, says aye, it is approved. I also just wanted, before we get into our first item, I just want to make a note that under the agenda, you'll see items under administrative matters for 48 changes, data centers, battery storage, and potential zoning bylaw changes. These are not deliberative items this evening. There's nothing for us to decide or even to discuss. They're really informal presentations for us, for the town, and for its citizens. That said, I believe the first item is a housing forum discussion led by Janet Providakis. Janice, if you would step up, please.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Dave. He's a gentleman. He's a gentleman.
Well, as the chair of the committee, we got to at least show her some respect.
Absolutely.
Every once in a while she'll cancel a meeting.
That's right. No, I'll make the meeting go longer. No, thank you very much for letting me be on the agenda. For here, what I want to do is I'm going to pretty much most of the boards, committees, trust, commissions, to give people the update that we are going to hold our third housing forum, which is, we had one in 2019, we had one in 2023, and we like doing this just to give the residents here in Ayer an idea of what's going on, some of the successes that we've had in housing, and really emphasize the affordable housing component of it. When there have been some changes, and there are, if I say, want to make sure that everybody understands some of the zoning changes that have occurred, that have allowed some of these successes, allowed the stuff that the Massachusetts has done with the ADUs being as right, let people know a little bit more about what it takes to, have an accessory dwelling unit. So we want to have it as a brainstorming session. It's going to have pizza. I should always lead with that first.
Yeah.
This is a draft of a poster.
And if you could, date, time, and location, if you could.
Yeah, oh, sorry, that's right. It's going to be September 29th here in Town Hall, up in the main, the Great Room. The Great Hall.
And what time would that be?
It's at 6 o'clock until around 8 o'clock. So the pizza will be there before 6.
And everyone's invited?
Everyone's invited. That's why I'm coming to all the boards to make sure that it gets broadcasted throughout all the YouTube videos of APAC. APAC will also be there. They've got that on their calendar. So it will be, taped. But I'm also opening up to any of the boards. One of the things, again, if you wanted to look at the flyer, of what we want to do doing the brainstorming, give a little definitions of what's the difference between a big A and a little a when you talk about affordable. What does affordable mean? When we start looking at, some of the rents in the area, it's like, you really think that's affordable? When you start looking at the prices, However, you know, with the markets that we do, or that we're in for being the Boston market, we are pretty reasonable compared to what they're doing closer towards Boston, hence why a lot of people are moving out that way. The other thing too that I just want to go ahead and let me get my little notes here. We are going to have a table too with resources that will have information available for first-time home buyers.
Nice.
You know, there's something that MHP, which is Mass Housing Partnership, has called a one mortgage. You know, things like that where, you know, there are resources available. So we open it up so that people know what's available.
Wonderful.
Feedback. Again, we're in the early stages, and the Affordable Housing Committee is always looking for, you know, ideas. We want to have a couple games. I'd like to do like a little bit of a trivia pursuit, you know, something that's going on within the town to get more people to understand some of the things that do occur within the town. We're doing like Mythbusters, you know, of seeing, you know, no, you cannot drive 100 miles over your 100 mile speed limit. I know the chief is behind me over a speed bump to see whether or not it alleviates the speed bump, but now you go flying. So things like that, you know, just to go ahead and have some fun. So I'm opening it up to the board here of, can you think of anything else that you'd want to see within an affordable housing forum?
So I completely applaud this. Thank you. This is great. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for people to ask questions.
Correct.
And to learn about what the housing situation here is in Ayer and also where we're going. I think that if you have a portion of it that we can reflect on the meaning of recent zoning changes for housing, that'd be very important. What does it mean when we can have duplexes on single-family lots, et cetera? What might the consequences be? I think that would be helpful. You know, just generally being prepared to answer complex questions.
We are going to have a team of experts, you know, the town experts that will be available. Like I know Danny is, you know, going to be talking about the zoning changes, inclusionary housing, the open space and residential development, you know, some of the successes that has happened with that. I've got DPW coming to talk about water, infrastructure, you know, sewer, you know, just to go, to make sure that that, you know, gets covered. Because again, people do have questions. It's like, you know, what's going on? Can we handle it? So.
My colleagues, questions or comments?
Thanks, Janet.
All right. So thank you very much for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
Janet.
And if there's anything, you know how to get in touch with me. If not, some of these people do. And welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janet, and
Okay,
good
you're
luck.
welcome. Thank you.
Let us know what we can do to help you to get ready for September 29th.
Okay, just show up.
All right. Good enough.
You got it.
Pizza.
Thank you.
Was he getting a liquor license?
No, we're not getting over this.
So the next item on the agenda, I'm going to turn this over to Danny, who's going to talk about a request for $3,000 from the planning donation Fletcher Estate account and explain what that means and what the request is for. Danny, take it away.
Yes. At least Ken, Jonathan, and Julie will remember this. We used this last year for when I went to the planning conference in Denver.
That's right.
We're using it this year. We have a request for the clerk's minutes so that we can get the program, the clerk's minutes that we're going to be using for meeting minutes for all the boards. It's going to be for up to 10 boards, 10 meetings. So we're going to initially start with the planning board, and then we're going to roll it out to other boards that would find it useful and make it easier for them for meeting minutes. So this request is coming from myself and from the town manager's office for the $3,000 for the full year of the clerk's minutes. At least this, yes. So it's for the full year, and then in the next fiscal year, we'll have it put into the budget.
And just for clarification for everyone, I believe the clerk's minutes is an automated method of recording minutes that doesn't require personnel to be here to take notes. Is that the concept?
Yes, that is correct. So basically what it does is it's an AI system that you upload the YouTube link of the meeting minutes of the meeting, it then transcribes the meeting into in a transcription, and then I would go back in and just put who the speakers were, make any revisions that I felt were necessary, and then I would have it create the actual minutes, either short form, medium form, or long form, depending on the type of meeting that we have.
Okay, sounds good. So you need from us to vote on that, to approve the $3,000 request, right?
Yes, that is correct.
I'm going to make a motion to approve your request for $3,000 from the planning donation Fletcher Estate account to be used for clerk's minutes this year.
Second.
Any further deliberation? Yes, Ken?
Yeah, so Danny, are you saying this 3,000 will just be used for the minutes of the planning board at this point in time?
No, so it would be used for it's the subscription for the 10 boards and 10 meetings.
Okay. So it basically takes us from now to the end of the year, something like that.
Yeah, and exactly, and it would be rolled out to other boards, over the this year.
Okay.
Is it 10 meetings per board or 10 meetings total?
It's 10 meetings per month.
Oh, 10 meetings per month. Okay,
There you go.
perfect. I got it.
That was a little hard.
I was going to say
follow.
10 meetings
Yeah.
between now and the end of the year. I was like, wait, wait. Okay, good. Perfect.
Yes, no, 10 meetings per month.
Thank you.
I don't need you to go in depth, Danny, but there are many platforms that do this. Is there like one or two key reasons we're choosing this version?
Yeah, so I had looked into this early before, once I knew Heather was no longer going to be doing minutes for us. I had looked into some other ones, which was like Muni minutes, or I forget what it was called. It's one that I use in my ZBA in Chelmsford. That one was a little bit more expensive, and it was a little bit more time consuming that I'd have to put into it. Clerk's minutes was something that actually Heather uses at her ZBA in Pepperell. And she said that she liked it. We did a trial on it for the June meetings, and it actually cut down on the amount of time that we had to put into creating the meeting minutes, and so that's why we ended up going with this one.
Thank you.
And Danny, question. I like the notes. I like the system, even though it spelled my name weird a few times. This will take us into the year. Will it automatically roll over and renew, or are we going to revisit this again at the end of the year for the $3,000?
I'll look into that, but the subscription should be a year. It's a year's worth of the subscription.
Okay.
12 months.
Oh,
Okay, great. Any further questions or comments from my colleagues? Are there any questions or comments from the people in the room? Okay. On Zoom, I believe Pauline has her
we have
hand.
one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Rachel. Sorry. Come on up, please. You know the story, name and address.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Planning Board. Rachel Kozera, Groton Harvard Road. I was wondering what the data would be. Would the data be used for anything other than just taking notes? Would it be fed or given to a third-party individual? Has anyone read the contract to see kind of like where the data goes afterward? It just, with AI and everything, it just seems like there's a lot going on. So I just didn't know if there's been any movement with regard to that.
Danny?
Yeah, that's a good question. So remember, these are all public meetings. All the information is already public. So in terms of whether or not it's going to a third party, no information would be taken from anybody. In terms of, it's just your name that you're stating at the meeting.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Pauline?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very quick question to Mr. Ruiz. Is there a document that outlines what 10 boards and committees, I might have that wrong, are going to utilize this service? And I presume there's a contract or other document outlining what the services entail.
Yes, so the in terms of the boards and committees, we haven't chosen who's going to be on that. We know that some other boards may want to use it. I know Sustainability Committee, the committee would like to use it. There's potential that the Select Board might use it. Conservation, there's potential for those kinds of boards, maybe Parks Department, but as of right now, we don't have any definitive definitive list as to who's going to be using it. Right now, the planning board will be the first ones to use it. And in terms of the contract, that information was sent over to Carly and the town manager's office, so they have the actual subscription of what goes within the subscription. I don't have that in front of me currently, but we do have that information.
All right, thank you very much.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
And chair votes aye. The $3,000 requisition is approved. Thank you, Danny. Next item on the agenda, 0 Park Street. Limit, if you'd come up and
Wait,
we have what? We have another hand? What?
didn't we have one that we added? The tree.
This is it.
Okay.
This is it. This is 0 Park Street.
That's this one.
That's this one.
Oh, I didn't hear Park Street. I'm sorry.
No problem. For the record, my name is Lim Hotib. I'm an engineer at GPR, Goldsmith Press from Ringwell. I appreciate squeezing me in to have this informal discussion. So I'm here today as a representative for CBH Excavating, which is a commercial excavating company that operates out of Westford. They had recently purchased a property, let's see here, it is map 19, parcel 25, so the one just below that one.
Oh, it's that one. Okay.
Yep, that one right there. This process began probably a few months back. We started looking at, what would it look like if we were to put a commercial storage warehouse building on this lot. We came up with a concept and have met and kind of go over a preliminary concept plan with DPW, Danny at Planning Board, obviously, Heather as well, just to kind of discuss, what it would look like for a commercial property here. CHB, Calvin as his representative, has been working with the town of Ayer, as I understand, pretty closely. They have a lot of active projects in town right now, and they're kind of looking to sort of have a base here in Ayer to kind of continue, their business with the town, as well as trying to expand a little bit into the town itself.
Can I ask what kind of I don't understand. Is it a warehouse? What kind of facility? What is it?
It's a storage warehouse.
It's storage warehouse. Okay.
Yeah. They just need a place to store their equipment.
Oh, to store their equipment. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm here today really just to give notice that, we want to get going on design as well as the site plan application with major stormwater component as well as a notice of intent filing. In order to do all that, we have to first do soil testing on site. From what we can see from the initial survey topo, there are quite a substantial amount of ledge on site. So we really have to try to figure out, what it is we can really do realistically in terms of stormwater management, as well as siting the building itself, siting footprint, and the substantial amount of cut or fill that may be needed. So we're hoping to begin at least clearing enough vegetation on site to create a path to get us up to an area close to the middle of the lot itself. That is a relatively flat spot on site because, from where the edge of pavement is going up to there, you're looking at probably about a 50-foot height increase. So, substantial climb. So they're going to be going in there, clearing enough trees, create a path to get up there, create an area where they can put equipment, but as well as, picking out some spots where we can do soil testing because we need to do that for on-site stormwater management.
So if I understand this correctly, I say what you're asking for is, I guess, permission to go ahead and do preliminary clearing, which would usually be after the submission of application and other things, but you want to do that in order to do the test pits to determine what kind of plan you would have for the stormwater. Is that correct?
So I want to be clear, the clearing itself does not meet the threshold for a minor
Right.
stormwater application at this
Uh-huh.
point. We're just clearing enough to get up there.
Right. And the reason to get up there is that you need to
Right. To
get the test pits
full
to
testing.
determine where the ledge is and what's doable in terms of a stormwater management system. Is that
That is
correct?
The whole
correct.
project.
Okay. And for the rest of the remainder of the project.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you,
just-
Danny, is there any reason to
Zoning.
object to this at all?
Zoning.
So talk to us.
So the reason we asked Limhut to come before the planning board, what we wanted to do is be extra cautious, understanding that there is a residential house right here, and that there's construction currently going on right here at the, at Bishop Road, Park Road, that National Grid place. So what we didn't want was them to go up there to go do test pits and some trees be cut down or cleared, and some people would see that, call it in to the building department. We didn't want any of that. So what we wanted to do is have them come up front, initially give you guys a quick update as to why they want to do this, so that you guys are all aware. Even though it doesn't meet any of the thresholds that would require them to come in before you, we just felt it would be the safest way and the most, upfront way to make sure that everyone is aware of what's going on.
So are we looking for an approval from us with a formal vote, or what?
No.
Okay.
No, there's no formal vote.
Mhm.
They're just here to make sure you guys understand, and if
Okay.
you guys have any initial concerns or questions.
Ken?
Okay, so Danny, you've obviously done a zoning review, and this is an allowed use in that area? We don't have any
Yes.
storage. Okay, so you guys know who this is, right, Carlton? The excavator?
Calvin.
Calvin?
Yeah, CHB. It's an excavating company that the town has used. That's currently using him. They want to, put in basically a warehouse to put where they can park their equipments.
Okay, I mean, my concern is just making sure it works in the zoning. It's a general business, is that it?
Yeah, this is a general business.
That's typically the first thing we check as well, prior
I know
to.
that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's been other issues with equipment, people storing equipment outside that does not work
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
So I'd be concerned that, and this is under the threshold of site plan review, it would be too small, right?
Yes.
Well, no. Once the actual project is fully designed,
Yeah.
then it would come before you for site plan review and stormwater management.
Okay, so
Right now,
it's big enough for that.
it's not.
Exactly. And we haven't, there's an abutter I can see on the screen, is there any reason why this small project, clearing the path, could create any inconvenience or disturbance to that abutter?
They're gonna go right on Facebook, they always do.
Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, we haven't heard anything from them, right?
So my one suggestion on that is it shouldn't disrupt them really, noise wise or any of that. What I would suggest is have Limhut, reach out to that resident
Yeah, I
that
would
lives
ask you.
here
There you go.
just before you guys do go out there, just so that they're aware as well.
Yep, not a problem.
Okay, yeah, that would be important, thank you. Okay, good. Did you have any follow-up questions, Ken?
No, I think,
Dave?
How big is the proposed warehouse? Or have they got to that point yet?
We haven't gotten to that point yet. I think we showed a footprint in the initial concept, but in talking with the client, it was more of, if we're gonna put up a long driveway to get to this flat area on site, we're doing all the stormwater management, it might be appropriate to look at potentially, more than one building if it allows us to do so. But it really all depends on the soil that we have on site, where we have ledge and all, We're still at the very early on preliminary stage.
Good. Julie, Peter, do you have any questions or concerns?
there's no billboard on this one, right? There's a billboard in that area, but it's not this lot, right?
I don't think this one is.
No.
I believe this one is entirely just vegetated, so.
Good.
All right. Danny, do we need anything more than this, or is this good?
No.
Okay. Linma, thank you for giving us this information. Much
Thanks for having
appreciated.
me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
I'm going to ask the representatives at 20 Central to approach the board. And Danny, as they're coming up, if I missed something?
Yep.
20 Groton Harvard Road?
20 Groton Harvard
I'm
Road.
sorry, not 20 Cent, 20 Groton Harvard Road. Ask them to come up. And Danny, as they're taking their seats, can you tell us where we are and what we can expect to accomplish this evening?
Yes. At the planning board's last meeting that this was heard, which was the meeting in June, beginning of June, it came down to the last thing, which was the traffic study. The police chief, myself, and Matt all felt that, some information was necessary here. The planning board voted not to approve the waiver request on the traffic study. So the applicant went out and got a traffic engineer, which was Vanessa and Associates. They did a traffic study that was then submitted to myself, to Matt, and to the police chief. Based on
And the board, right? Because I remember reading it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I did submit it to the board as well. Based on the information that we received and based on the review that Matt and the police chief did, they felt that this was sufficient, and that specifically there were some recommendations within the actual traffic study that the board would consider as part of the decision. Some of the recommendations that Vanessa and Associates had suggested.
Those recommendations aren't before us right now, though. I don't remember.
They're in the report.
They are in the report?
They're in the report.
Okay. Could you?
And so what I would do is, as part of the for our next meeting, or if
Next
the planning
meeting?
board
Okay.
feels they want to close the hearing tonight, and then we can do the decision at the next meeting.
Well, continue the hearing tonight, and then we could, right? That's what you meant, not close it.
you could close the hearing tonight,
Oh,
and then I would work on the decision and have it ready for the next meeting, or you can leave it open and then continue it to the next meeting, and we can still have the decision ready for the next meeting.
would that 2-week delay be a hindrance to the applicant, or would that be a hardship at all?
A hardship? I don't
Or a
believe
difficulty?
so. I think
mean, I'm talking about timing. Just, does it matter to you?
We'd like to get it done.
You'd just like, yeah, you'd like to get started.
Everything else, yeah.
Right. So Danny, in your professional opinion, and I see Chief Gill's here and he's nodding his head that, what you just said about they accepted the traffic report. And as I understand, there will be conditions based on recommendations?
yes.
Okay. So you.
And so, in this scenario, so there are two ways we can do it. You can always close the hearing now,
Right.
and then that means no new information is coming in, which at this point everything has been addressed. So no new information would come in, and then at the next meeting, we know that the decision will be ready and just voted on. Or you can leave the hearing open in case you wanted additional information, but I don't think there's any need for additional information at this point.
I'd like to survey my colleagues. How do you feel about that? Any preferences?
I would just question whether we need to just review the project again in a quick overview, because it's been like a month, and take another quick look at it. Double check that Danny, according to you, the DPW, the comments from all the department heads, I mean,
Have been addressed.
I kind of reread it, but, so there's been no new comments or no response that's needed to be provided by the applicant to any of the old comments that were there. Everything's been addressed. They're all.
Yeah, everything has been addressed.
Okay.
And could you just remind me what the recommendations are based on the traffic study? Danny?
I can pull it up one second.
Thank you, I'd appreciate it.
I have a rabbit in here, if you want me to talk to him
Okay.
and speak to some of those.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
if you
good.
can.
Yeah. Thank you for having this done. It was very informative. So the traffic study, I believe addressed our overall concerns with the amount of traffic that, was there, and the potential and the queuing issues.
The
that
queuing was the big thing.
We were very concerned with. So some of the issues that came up as some of their overall recommendations, and I'll just jump right to it. But there was some interesting points in here that the traffic study that they did, which was in June, which I think is still a very busy area, and I think it's going to give us an accurate kind of depiction of what the traffic goes through there. And they really focused in on their commuting time, so which is a 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and the 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So I think also it's giving us an accurate depiction of the potential for the most traffic that travels through there. One of the things that I thought was very interesting, that I think the board should know in general about this intersection, that the Groton-Harvard Road carries 3,900 cars per day through there, and that at the peak it's 290 to 330 vehicles per hour. So our concerns to really look at the traffic were warranted to make sure that we didn't have a situation there. Just bear with me while I go through the tabs. One of the things that I really want to highlight to the board here is about the recommendations and conclusions.
Yes.
Though they said that the traffic itself was going to be a minimal, if not negligible, impact, they do recommend access-related improvements, pedestrian and bicycle accommodations, and TDM actions as summarized below.
Could you remind us what TDM is?
So that's the transportation demand management.
Thank you.
And TDM means series of measures that are designed to encourage the use of alternative modes of travel.
Okay.
One of the things that I think that we really should be considering on this board is the egress and access improvements. One of the things that they do highlight is that the driveway alignment widths and curbs radii should be designed to achieve the perpendicular alignment. And that's really just to address all of their sight lines, which they, in the next bullet below, with selective clearing and grading as part of the installation of the site driveway, the available sight lines will satisfy the recommended sight line requirements. So I think that there is a potential for some sight line issues there with grading, and they also talk about some of the vegetation there. So I think that the part of the recommendation should be to make sure that if there's something that they focus on here, it's the sight lines under the egress improvements.
Okay.
There is some vegetation down there currently on the central Ave side to the west, and that has been as it grows and possibly not getting attended to. It did become a sight line issue where the DPW actually had to go in and mandate a proper sight line by doing their own trimming down there. And the pedestrian and bicycle accommodations, I'll just leave that to the board. I mean, it's recommendations from there, but I would like that, to really kind of focus in on the sightline issues down there.
Okay.
For the egress there. So, other than that, I'm very satisfied with the traffic study. And the interesting component to there is the amount of traffic that actually does go through just that Groton-Harvard side.
All right. Thank you, Chief. So, does the applicant have any questions or concerns regarding what was just stated about the recommendations? Do you have any observations or questions?
No.
You're comfortable with those?
I think you're really going to have the low-lying shrubs or basically no shrubs whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they said.
I live down the road there.
Sure.
I'm through there every day. And coming down from, say, the old hospital down to Central Ave, you take a right there can be kind of a hazard.
Those are the bushes that we'd have
and
to
there's
maintain.
them, the spruce trees or something along the white pines, they were kind of, which will all be taken down also, you know what I mean? So that'll give you definitely a better line of view,
And that was an initial comment, which is why we proposed to remove those.
Right.
We have a replanting plan that was submitted there, which basically all of the screening was back between the abutting property lines as opposed to along the road frontage that would impact those sight lines.
Okay, great. And Danny, you would incorporate these recommendations into your decision?
Yeah, I would incorporate them. Basically, what it would be a special conditions that specifically calls out the recommendations that were set forth in their traffic study.
That's
I
good.
guess my one remaining concern is that if we close the hearing, I'm just afraid that when you present the decision, that we won't have any ability to discuss or adjust if the hearing's closed. Am I wrong in that, my understanding?
So the way it would work is the board the board and myself would have the ability to make changes and adjust. The applicant, I would send everything to the applicant ahead of time, and he would have a chance to give me any revisions or comments he has. But at the meeting specifically, they would not they wouldn't have that chance to speak.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts? Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Is anyone be able to put the landscape plan up on the drawing, the planting plan that we talked about?
Yes.
Up on the screen.
One
excuse me.
sec. Yep, 1 second.
Because I think you've got most of this covered already, right, in the design? But I did have one comment about the, was it the TDM, something like that? In the past, we've asked people who did housing projects to give to the potential buyers or people who lease that plan. In other words, these are some options you have for traffic. You can get a train, you can visit, there's a written plan that incorporates these comments and encourages people to do something other than drive their car. That's what it amounts to. It's like I want to say a simple pattern of comments to go with it, but it's probably a good idea to give that to people is what I'm getting at. Someone who comes into the unit, say here's some suggestions about how to, better utilize what's available in town for public transportation or for walking or whatever the case might be, to encourage them to just something other than their car. I think that's what we've done in the past for traffic situations.
And of course, this location is within easy walking distance of the train station.
Yeah, right. And they may know that, but, okay, so it's evident here that everything gets removed from the site. We already know that, except for even along the back. I mean, pretty much, we've gone through this in the field, we met out there and had a site visit and so forth. So the screening is heaviest, as you pointed out, is towards the abutting neighbor on that side. And then there's a fence proposed to the neighbor on the, I guess it's to the west. Is that the idea? Can we talk about the height of that fence on the decision? How high that fence is going to be, Danny?
It's a proposed 6 foot. Oh no. 6 foot high vinyl privacy fence.
Okay. So, I mean, some of the concerns we had from the abutter.
Yeah, I know.
Hopefully are taken care of with the fencing and some other stuff, but. And the driveway currently looks like it's at a 90-degree to the street. It doesn't seem like it needs to be tweaked at all, based on their recommendation. Did we make any changes regarding remember we were talking about whether we were gonna add a catch basin, do some things like that, crown the driveway, catch the water going in both directions? Did that get changed on them?
So we looked into that, that's kind of where we left it, and we could add an additional catch basin. Right now, there's currently one on the northerly side as you enter into the driveway, which feeds through a 12-inch pipe to the leaching pit. So we could add an additional catch basin in line. So basically, right on the 12-inch pipe that heads that way, just put it right in there.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
So that'd be a small revision, Danny, though, on the final drawings for that, most likely.
Yeah, so if we were to do that, then I would suggest not closing.
Yeah. I would prefer continuance, just in case. It's just the safer route. It just allows us more flexibility. But Julia, I see you nodding your head. Peter, you're nodding your head. Dave, Ken, what's your sense on that? Continuance or closing?
I'm going to go with the majority, so if you guys feel like it's okay with me.
All right. With that said, then I will make a motion for continuance of the public hearing for 20 Groton Harvard Road, site plan review and stormwater management permit to our next meeting. What's the date? August 11th. No?
Yes, August 11th.
To August 11th.
So at that meeting, we undoubtedly will close at that night.
Exactly.
Should you?
Yes.
You think you should start a preliminary, like a rough draft of the decision?
Yeah, so I will get that started and sent over to the applicant when I get back from vacation. So I'll have it to him by August 7th, yeah. That way he has the weekend and that Monday to get us any comments before the 11th.
Okay.
With that said, I already made a motion to continue. So I'm looking for a second. Did I ever get a second?
Second.
Peter seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Dave? Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. So we'll continue until August 11th, and we'll see you then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to call a 5-minute recess, and we will regroup at 7 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. All right. Hello, it's 7, and we're back. Welcome, everybody. And the next item of, excuse me, the next item on the agenda, project status updates. Danny, please take it away.
Yes. So project status updates. The first item we have is regarding Lincoln Hill. So Lincoln Hill has their stormwater permit through the EPA, the NIPDs. That currently is now going to be staying with Onyx, but the Lincoln developers will be a partner on it, and they'll take over doing the actual SWIP reports going forward. There was some difficulties having it fully transferred over from Onyx to the Lincoln developers, so what they did was add Lincoln developers to the actual permit.
Oh, okay.
So going forward, Lincoln developers will be the ones dealing with the SWIP.
Okay. Excellent.
In terms of so Pine Street extension, that one currently is getting close to finalizing. They're also, I believe that at the next select board meeting, there's a poll petition for Pine Street extension from National Grid. Mm-hmm. So that's going before the select board at their next meeting in August.
Okay.
So that project's nearing the end as well. Obviously we'll, still have to do the final as-built process like we typically would do. We are also should be getting a final as-built to close out the 33 3rd Street project.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The other Aho project, so that one we should also be getting soon. I spoke with Brandon last week. He said that he should be getting something to me this week. So there's that. 42 Park Street, we got, they did reach out to us that they are in the process of updating plans to come back to us. They're also in the process of getting everything scheduled. Justin from McCarty Engineering did tell me that they're looking for the August 13th deadline to submit for the August 13th deadline. But I need to follow up with him because there's some he had some questions. So
okay.
When I get back next week, I'll follow up with him.
So the August 13th deadline is for our second meeting in August, right? Is that, no? I'm confused.
It's the first meeting in September.
For the first meeting in September.
Oh.
Okay, right. Because submission of materials, really, yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Any other projects?
And then, I have one back thing on Lincoln Hill. Ken did had a question about in terms of the blast reports and anything that went through. So I did reach out to the fire chief and to Lieutenant Bozick, and they both said that nothing as of now has gone. They haven't seen anything go through yet, but it's currently going through the process. But so as of now, nothing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good.
In the for Stratton Hill, Julie, I did get your email about the plans. I will get those over to you. We don't have those, and planning wise, they're through conservation and DPW, but I'll get those sent over to you as.
No rush.
And then other than that, so they're just moving along pretty slowly. I know that there was talks about revisions, and I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Kind of still up in the air. As well as the turtle habitat that did get moved. We're just waiting on revised plans on that to come to us. We'll know if it's minor or major. I mean, initially, just it being moved to another location within the open space, to me would say minor, but we'll see what the actual impact is, and Mike and I will make that determination at that point.
Okay.
Other than that, Panther Place, I did receive the recorded documents for the lot releases that was sent over to me. So that has been completed, and he'll be working on those lots now
Great.
to sell those off.
Good.
Old Town Village
Yes.
made their submission as well. They will be before the board at the second meeting in August.
Oh,
I believe it is. I'll confirm the date, but they'll be coming before the board. The full submission is up on the website right now. Everyone can go look at it. It's been sent out to all the department heads for the interdepartmental review. My comments have been completed. I received Heather's today, Matt's as well, and so we're just going to be waiting on the rest of the others. It's a quite big submission because of the different components that are in here with this submission. There's site plan review, major stormwater. There's a special permit for the use, which is the multifamily, and then there's also inclusionary housing. So there's a lot that goes into this one. It's 32 units, and there will be 3 affordable units, and it's going to be rental. So it's a nice added multifamily to the neighborhood, to the area. More inventory, which is going to be helpful.
All right. Thank you, Danny.
That's all I have for project status updates right now.
All right. Ken has a question.
yeah, Danny, I'm sorry. Can I go back to the applicant who just left? One of the comments in the department was that they were going to provide elevations and architectural. We didn't see that yet either.
It's on the website, I believe.
I don't think so.
Let me just double check right now.
Could have missed it.
I believe it was in here. I'll confirm, and but I thought those were included.
It was in one of the comments.
Yeah, they are. I can here. Let me just pull it
That's
up right
fine.
now.
I'll check it.
Yeah, so if you go on the website, on their second submission, it's the
Okay.
first item.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Good. Is that it for project updates?
We don't hear anything about the Groton Harvard Road next to the transfer station. We just never get any updates on that.
Yeah, so I mean, they've been in a same position as they've been for about the last year. They've just been working internally. They're still doing SWIPs. We still get those weekly.
All right.
But as of now, there's just been nothing going on outside. It's all been interior work. I know they've been, over the last couple of weeks, they've been talking about getting the north driveway paved. I don't know if that's actually, I mean, based on the SWIP reports we've seen, it hasn't happened yet. But they've been talking about it. So,
Okay, thank you.
at this point, we don't know.
Okay. All right. I believe you have want to lead us through the 40A changes, if you can set that up.
Yes. Let me just share the screen. So just so that everyone knows, this is what they're calling, it's the House Bill number 5555. Basically, it's the so-called Economic Development Bill. And there were some changes that came through with this law, this new bill. The first one is in terms of notice changes. Basically, you were previously required to have a posting on posting a town hall publication in a newspaper and certified mail. This now allows notices to be sent via electronic mail in lieu of the certified mailing. So we could send it via email instead of doing a certified mail. Now, how often this will actually be used,
Exactly.
I don't know. It's going to be a larger change in the grand scheme because we would need, the 300-foot abutter list with emails, which you don't necessarily always have emails for those. So there are occasions where if it's an abutter that I've recently worked, I've spoken with, and I know there's a way that I could do it that way, but it's something that I think in the future will be implemented. Right now, it's it's just something that's an added bonus.
Okay.
The other change was in terms of Chapter 48, Section 6, changes to nonconformity protections, abandonment timelines, and zoning freezes. I'm not going to get into the extension of pre-existing nonconforming. That's nothing for the planning board. That's ZBA. Same with abandonment determination. That's a building department and ZBA. The expansion of protection for subsequent zoning changes. This is something the board is definitely. So basically what this does is if you, the only way you could get protected was if you had a building permit or if the special permit was issued before the first publication of the zoning change. Now, basically, the way it works is if you're protected from the zoning change, if you've applied for a special permit, building permit, or any other entitlement under Chapter 48. So just submitting for the application now freezes your zoning, as opposed to getting issued that.
And we're
Applying
going
for the permit.
I'm sorry?
Applying for the permit. I think you said application.
No, so
The application.
the
for the permit.
application,
Yeah.
once you've submitted the application for a special permit, building
Yeah.
permit, or any other entitlement,
Right.
then the zoning freezes it starts as of that date of the submission.
Right.
We're assuming people will act in good faith with these submission of applications. I mean, could you foresee a situation where someone kind of games the system by saying, "Hey, wait a minute! I know 3-4 years from now, there's things I want to do here." So they apply, they submit an application early or prematurely. Is that a potential hazard here?
It's always been a hazard,
Okay. Fair enough.
and that's it's why it was put in the law. It also, they're making it easier what they're trying to do is make it easier, because what has happened in other towns is they know a big project is coming and they don't want it. So what they do is they drag their feet on the project until they can get to town meeting and make the zoning change, what then stops them from being able to go forward with the
A
project.
lot of lawsuits about that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and that's why specifically this one was passed into law. They also, yep.
Sorry, Danny, but a lot of the impetus for this is because we're trying to encourage more housing. It starts with that emphasis, right? The whole background.
Yes. Yeah, it's more housing as well as economic growth.
Yeah.
The other change, increase of the duration of zoning freezes, is now 3 years as opposed to 2 years.
It says 1 year to 2 years here.
So this is it depends on the type that it is.
Okay.
So it basically freezes for 2 years. It's saying 2 years here, but there's other ones that are so the zoning freeze, it gets increased from 1 to 2 on these zoning ordinance or bylaw must establish at the issuance of the last permit necessary for construction. So yeah, this excludes the actual timeline during the actual you're actively seeking the permits. So it basically is more of a building kind of thing in terms of when does the zoning freeze go into place? How long is it? Because other items like subdivisions have longer zoning freezes than special permits and building permits do. So this is helping the building permit and the special permits specifically. The expansions of lot merger zoning protection. This is not a I mean, the planning board should know about this, but it's not really a planning board issue. So basically what it does is, the way it reads is and adds the anti-merger protection for undeveloped lots of certain size or frontage that were lawfully created and later come into common ownership with adjoining land. Previously, only lots for the single or two family residential uses were protected. The amendment strikes the residential use requirement, providing protections for all lots. So basically what this does is, two lots that initially were in compliance with the zoning were bought late. One gets bought later by the adjoining property. They're not automatically required to merge those, and you're allowed to still kind of use them as as separate lots, and you don't need a single family or two family residential to be on the land to get the protection. So it's more of a building interpretation question than a planning board, but it basically just protects undeveloped lots.
Okay.
There was changes to the variance standards, which doesn't really pertain to the planning board, but on this one, what it does is it makes variances easier. It lowers the threshold on the standard. The new standard is strict enforcement of the ordinance or bylaw would result in practical difficulty. So it's no longer as strict as it was before.
And again, the idea here is to stimulate more development. Is that or housing?
Yes. It's basically to make sure that the lots that we know are undevelopable because of zoning issues but don't meet the threshold for variances can now be developed.
Good.
But that's a ZBA thing. The variances have been it's been extended, so it's no longer 1 year. It's 2 years now, and you can ask for an extension on that as well. And the extension can be up to 2 years. And that was really in terms of zoning, in terms of building, that this new law kind of put into place. It also, put into law site plan review as well.
Right. Okay, great. All right. Do you want to talk about data centers and battery storage? Excuse me?
Yes. So this topic was just something that our land use meeting. So we had our internal biweekly land use meeting, and as one of those topics that came up was, what are we going to do for the next town meeting, in terms of any zoning changes that people are looking for, and something that came up was discussion about battery storage and data centers. We've had this on our list in land use for a while as something that we wanted to, tackle because of we've noticed the increase in data centers all across the U.S., the impacts that the data centers are having all across the U.S. In terms of data centers itself, we suggested in land use potentially looking at doing a moratorium on data centers in Ayer, and we would do this to do some more research in terms of how do we protect the town from a data center. And basically what this would do would be, it would put a time period on when a moratorium on when data centers can be built in Ayer. So it would block them for a certain period of time. And that would just be to give us enough time internally in town hall to do more research and find out, do we create a bylaw? Do we just outright ban it in our zoning tables? What do we do, and what do we think is the best route?
How is this moratorium applied? I mean, what's the legal method for applying this?
Yeah. Yep. So the way it would work is the moratorium would come to the planning board like a zone. It would come to the planning board and the select board like a zoning change. Basically, it would go through the same process as all zoning changes go through. It would go to the select board first, then the planning board would vote on them, and then it would go to town meeting, and town meeting would make the
So it
would make the
requires
final
town
vote.
meeting, okay, all right.
Yes. So that's the first topic, which was the data centers. In terms of battery storage, that was another item that we had concerns about internally as well, but we've recently learned that we cannot ban battery storage because it's part of the clean energy. And with the whole revamping of the clean energy, the phone's ringing. In terms, so with the new restructuring and of the clean energy and how that program is going to go through with permitting, battery storage cannot be banned. So what would happen is we would need to create a bylaw specifically for that. And this has been a list on our, for us as well. We had been talking about it internally, and now that we know it cannot be banned, it's something that we are going to work pretty quickly on moving forward with an actual bylaw. We have some structure, some requirements, regulations on what can and cannot be done. It wouldn't be for the fall town meeting. It would be something that would most likely come sometime next year, spring or fall of next year, just because of how much research we want to make sure we put into this to make sure it's the right regulation.
I understand reservations about data centers because of the enormous electricity and water consumption that they demand. But I was just curious about the battery storage. What are the primary concerns there?
So for us, it's in terms of the noise. We know that the noise is a really big component because of the humming of the actual batteries. We don't have a current bylaw in place, so we don't really have a way to regulate it. We have had people, approach us about putting them in Conex boxes in their backyard, so there's no way to actually regulate it right now. So what we want to do is have some sort of a regulation so that we know it's safe, some sort of a process that it gets reviewed to make sure that what is being installed isn't going to be detrimental to any neighbors in the area. That's in terms of the smaller scale stuff. Larger scale stuff would be outside of our purview because that goes through the state.
I guess my biggest concern is fire.
Well, there's a whole series of regulations for that.
Yeah, they got that?
Yeah, there's regulations in terms of putting out a battery fire, and that's like the fire department kind of style.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the things that we want to contemplate in these regulations is, what are the best procedures? Do they need to have some sort of an emergency plan, already, in place? Who do you contact? So like a lot of these things, like we have with our solar, it would be similar to that.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe Pauline has a question.
Okay. You know what? First, I want my colleagues on the board to make. So first, I want to open up to my colleagues. Any questions or concerns you have about this issue or issues? Pardon me.
Danny, have any other towns around us or in this area taken similar steps as far as the moratorium on data centers or had any input on battery storage?
There has not been a town that has done a moratorium on data centers yet. I know there's been discussions in a couple of towns on whether or not they want to move forward with that, but nothing yet. And for me, I don't want to be the last one to do it. I would prefer to be ahead of the game, just because, in my opinion, the impacts of a data center, the negative impacts will outweigh anything that the pro would be. And I want to make sure that we find the right process if we can't ban it outright, then say that we feel the town is going to be protected.
Okay,
Thank you.
Any other further comments from my board colleagues? Yeah, Ken.
So Danny, this is going to be so simple that the answer will probably be complicated, but it's my understanding that we have data centers anywhere in the table that's allowed in any zone in town now. I thought if we didn't have something under zoning, if it wasn't explicitly allowed, it was not allowed.
That's what I thought too.
So what are we saying? That first of all, we know it would land on commercial industrial land. It wouldn't be, and they're so big that we'd never build one in town anyway. They're so big that just would not be a piece of land in town potentially. You would literally have to tear down all of the Westford Road buildings to put one in.
Oh my God.
So what's the concern?
So for us,
starting with zoning, I guess, is it allowed?
So I'm not going to speak on the zoning in the sense of if it's allowed or not. That's a building commissioner question that he needs to make a determination on. There's questions about that because of technically, is it just a warehouse? Is it just a storage center?
No, it's not. It's a data center.
We're getting into what you're interpreting it as and what the building commissioner would interpret it as, and under the ICC, we don't have it in our table of use as allowed. I agree with you, but I'm not the one that can make that determination on whether or not it is or not allowed.
Okay. All right. Well, my recommendation would be to have Mike write up a report on, or at least a determination that if he finds it in the table or allowed anywhere in town. Let's start with that. Get an actual determination from the building commissioner or the authority having jurisdiction that we allow data centers or we don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'd like to open up for public comment, starting with in the room. Does anyone have a comment on this particular issue? Ruth, are your comments or questions regarding data centers or battery storage?
Yes.
Come on up.
Ruth Maxon Schultz. I was going to ask about, which sort of addressed it, if zoning, like general business, things like that, that's a zoning or industrial, would not that already have data centers under their blanket and under their authority, or not? You said you'd leave that to the building inspector, not to the law?
The building commissioner is the zoning enforcement officer, not me.
Yeah.
Okay. The law doesn't, the Massachusetts general law doesn't state it one way or another. What zone the data center could be in?
No.
Okay. And the same thing with battery storage?
Yeah, no, because that's considered clean energy, just like a solar array would be.
It's like an accessory use.
Okay. Okay, why do you think data centers are so bad for the town? Or why do you think that?
I mean, you can just look across the nation right now. All the residents that live near data centers, all of the electricity that is being failed in at these residences' house. There's the water consumption. It's the noise, the pollution. Like there's multiple things going on that are, I think, are more negative than they are positive.
I think that they're going to end up having to have more than the way we're deflecting and storing data. Anyway, thank you. You've answered my question.
Thank you, Ruth. We'll take questions and comments from Zoom. I believe Pauline has her hand up. Pauline?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question centers specifically on battery storage. I presume the discussion pertains to lithium batteries, although that was not clear. Car batteries or appliance batteries or lawn maintenance batteries. For example, I have a lawnmower that operates on 2 lithium batteries, and I will tell you honestly, they scare me to death. So I don't know what type of battery you are referring to, Danny.
Yep.
Can you elaborate?
Yes. Yeah. So what we're specifically talking about is battery storage in terms of solar arrays. So they're the backup. Basically, after a solar array, they convert the energy and then they store it in an actual battery storage. Like these are for larger scale. It's not like for something which, like, I understand what you're talking about. Like sometimes they have like lawnmowers that use the little lithium batteries that are small. No, this is for large battery storage to hold energy that's done from solar arrays.
Got it. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Danny, I believe the next item on the agenda is potential zoning bylaw changes, or has that been incorporated in this discussion already?
No. So, well, the moratorium was one of the topics that was kind of both. In terms of the zoning changes, there are a couple of zoning changes that we expect to be coming to the fall town meeting. The first one is going to be a tree protection bylaw. This is something that's been in the works for quite a while. And basically what it would do is it sets a certain threshold it's similar to our land clearing, but it's a little bit more in depth. It basically would, require some replication of trees, a certain percentage of, whatever's been taken down, you get replicated with this amount of trees, and as well as it goes into depth of, what type of trees, how big, all of that kind of stuff. So that's the first item that we would be bringing to town meeting. The second item is...
Excuse me.
Yep.
Are you saying that the planning board would bring that to town meeting?
So
some other department would be bringing it to town meeting?
So myself, I would be bringing it to the planning board, to the select board, then the planning board.
Okay. Thank you.
And this would be in consultation with Heather. So Heather and I have been working on this one.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of discussion to be had here.
Yeah, so
Yep.
you're not saying it's going to come from the Conservation Commission. It ultimately, the article will come from the planning board.
Yeah, it's going to come from the planning board. It would be we're not sure if it's a zoning, a general bylaw, or if it's a zoning bylaw. I think it's going to be a general bylaw, but it would be it would have specifics, requirements as to what type of projects would trigger it. It has all that kinds of information.
Thank you.
And we have a draft right now that I can send to the planning board to look at.
Yeah. I think we're going to have quite a bit of deliberation on this.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What were the other ones, Danny?
The second one would be there would be the Aquifer Protection District. So basically, right now, the planning board is the permit granting authority on this one, and the one thing that needs to be cleaned up is right now under the Board of Health, they still have their aquifer protection regulations. So what would need to happen is that the planning board would, we would implement or bring in all of the definitions that are in their regulation into the zoning bylaw. And that way those definitions would be out of the regulations and they can get rid of the regulations that the Board of Health has. It's just some basic, some clerical work just to clean it up.
So that seems more like a technical procedure cleanup than anything else, whereas the tree protection bylaw is larger. Okay.
Yes. Jonathan, 1 second. My battery's gonna die. I just gotta go grab my charger.
You do that. Well, we're close to concluding anyway. Okay, good.
Can I give a wrap-up update that Danny already knows? Because we're still in a meeting
Yeah,
and
please
we
go
have
for
a
it.
quorum. I potentially have a family vacation during the next meeting. It's just weather dependent. So August 11th, I just might not be joining us, and Danny already knows that.
Okay, thank you for letting us
In case
know.
other people have things coming up.
And we'll let you know, and we'll apprise you if there are applications, et cetera, that require you to.
Yeah, I'll do all those things, but I just, in case anyone
Yeah,
else wants to enjoy their summer.
If they open the apartment building,
Yeah, I know.
she'll have to go for the, what's that
Mullen.
rule, the Mullen?
Yeah,
rule.
that's
Give
okay.
us one meeting, it's no big deal.
And again, I might zoom in or be
Catch
here,
up.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
just knowing we all.
Danny, you're back.
Okay. Yes, I'm back. All right. The other zoning change we're bringing would be it's a amendment to the inclusionary housing bylaw. Katie Neville, who is handling the community development portion in town. She works with the affordable housing. She has brought to my attention, she feels that 80% AMI right now in the metro, the Boston metro area is just really not, as we would say, affordable. So what she wants to do is add a provision within the inclusionary housing bylaw, which would incentivize developers that are, doing this to potentially go to 60% AMI. And we would find a mechanism to basically, it would incentivize them to do that. We're still working on it. We have not gotten, in draft form yet. We're still working it and trying to figure out what's the best way to make it feasible to a developer. And so that is something that's potentially going to be coming in the fall.
Anything else?
There's some others that we've been thinking about that we're not sure about as of right now. I think those are just the top three.
Okay.
Plus the moratorium.
Any further questions from the board? Any public comments from people in the room? Hearing none. Any further questions or comments from anyone participating on Zoom? Okay. There are no meeting minutes to approve tonight, right?
No.
All right. With that said, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
So moved. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Danny, for leading this while you were on
Yes.
vacation.
Thanks, Danny.
Much appreciated.